Hello, it's me again, Beatrice Achaleke, coming to you this time with the Africa for Smart Kids book series again. You are on the desk of a very passionate writer. So, this is video number 3 in this series. And the series intention is to introduce the Africa for Smart Kids book series to you. If you haven't watched them, please go watch them and subscribe to the channel so we can bring you many more videos. So this time we're talking about book 3, and book 3 title is Are All Africans Black? During my time in Europe, and I did stay there for 20 long years, and I did quite a lot of work in different European countries and worked with the European Commission and the Parliament. Quite a lot of people thought that everyone who is black is African. I used to think that way too, in Cameroon, where I was born. But I came to, when I did my research to write this book, it dawned on me that we do have Africans who are black and Africans who are not black. Above all, this book tells you about the diversity of Africa. It's not just about the skin color. It takes you across the continent and tells you or unveils to you how diverse Africa is. It shows you the life expectancy in Africa by country, tells you about disability and how we people in Africa perceive disability and how it is dealt with. It tells you about the different ethnic groups in Africa and show you some of the largest ones. It's very difficult to say how many ethnic groups there are in Africa, but certainly there are some large groups that you really can not talk about them when you talk about ethnicity in Africa. It tells you also about homosexuality, gays and lesbians. It's a subject that is very taboo still in some African countries, but that's a reality that we really can't skip when we're talking about the diversity of Africa. And then in chapter 6, we're really looking at the fact that is everyone who is black Africa, or are there some people in Africa who are not black, who are citizens of some African countries? We give you statistics about that, and we look further whether is there Africans, if there are some Africans who are white, and we look into other countries to show you the number of black people who live in other countries, who are citizens of those countries. And I was quite surprised when I did my research to realize that the highest number of black people outside the continent is not in America like many of us think. It is in Brazil. Brazil actually has a total of 88 million black people. Did you know that? Well, you'll find out about that in this book. And as you read through the facts, we also show you places. We take you to places through the pictures. If you have read some of my books, you see that I have different angles of telling the stories that I tell. It's through the pictures that you find from the cover, right down to those that you find in the books. They tell you a different story from the narrative that my characters are telling you. So it comes from my passion of making sure that each page of my book takes you to a different part of Africa and show you a different aspect that will make you discover Africa from its diversity. So here on this table, for example, you see the 10 most popular tribes in Africa. You will have to read them to find out. We take you to the islands, and Mosquito Zangalo is always there to ask you questions, to provoke your thoughts. Now you see Christianity, we talk about religion, and some facts and figures are in there for you, and with the pictures we still take you across. On this chapter we are talking to you about this one. We're focusing on the number of other people who live in Africa and in which countries they live. This table is about the population of white Africans by country. You see the percentage in here. We talk about when we talk about ethnicity, we look at minorities like albinos. This is Salif Keita. He's one of the famous African musicians. He's an albino, and his story is a fascinating story that you have to read, and he makes fantastic music. So we also touch on that aspect and move on to look at Africans abroad. This picture is a very beautiful picture captured by Nelima Velan. It shows Africans of Indians of African origin living in some villages, far off villages between Pakistan and India. I did not know that until when I did my research. And when you look at this table, it shows you in world ranking the countries that have the greatest number of Africans by population in the world. Okay, the populations of people of Indian descent in Africa is also captured on that table. And so we take you across Africa and really show you much more of what you read in ordinary school books or in some books that are out there. So I invite you to take a look at not just book 1, book 2, but also book 3. And remember, you can start reading this book from anyone that you like. You don't have to go from book 1 to book 3. They're very independent in terms of reading, so you can start with any number that it's more interesting to you. And I can't wait to see you in the next video, and for you to see that video, I need you to subscribe. Please subscribe and share, and make sure that we take this knowledge out to people who really want to see Africa from a different perspective. And if you are an African and you want to become as proud as I am, this is the first step. This is the first step to knowing Africa, our vast continent, our very diverse continent, and a continent that we call affectionately home. My name is Beatrice Achaleke. I can't wait to introduce book 4 to you. Stay tuned.